Right, so welcome back to the workshop then, and if you remember in the last video I did an awful lot of work on this Westone neck. So in this video then is all about the other bits. So let me show you what I've been up to. So I wanted to clean up the bridge. As you can see, there's lots of kind of corrosion on there, and from experience the easiest way to clean it up is to actually take the bridge off. So yeah, the bridge is off, came off really easy, thanks I guess to the fact that we've got brass screws, and unlike steel screws they hadn't corroded. And if you've seen some of my other videos, my other Resto videos, you would have seen me trying to take the bridge off and the screws actually snapping off inside the wood. So very pleased with the way they came out. So yeah, I'm going to now clean this up. So with the bridge, all the brass parts I put in soak in some paint stripper. They would have originally been lacquered to stop them from oxidising, from corroding. But the trouble is, when you get a scratch or a mark that goes through that lacquer, the exposed brass then starts to oxidise, and you get all of these dirty, messy black marks on it. What I prefer when I'm using brass parts is not to lacquer it at all, and then if it is going to take on a patina, well then it's an even kind of patina. And also if the player then wants to polish the brass, they can polish the brass, because of course you can't polish the brass if it's covered in a coat of lacquer. And this is again really an exercise in patience. I'm going to leave that paint stripper on there for at least 24 hours to do its work. And then in here I've got the steel parts, and they're all soaking in some WD-40 to get rid of any surface corrosion, and I can clean those up and put them back on. Also, I've just unscrewed the pickup, given the case a nice little clean with some sort of general purpose furniture polish, and hoovered all the muck and fluff and bits and pieces out of there. So what I'm going to do in a second is give the height adjustment screws a bit of a polish up, and then I can put those pickups back in place. Well, you can see that the paint stripper has done its job, so that needs a good old clean up now, doesn't it? I should say that if you're doing this, it's probably wise to wear some gloves. But as you can see, that's starting to come up really quite nicely. Right, so that's the bridge all cleaned up and looking rather lovely, if I say so myself. And I say, once you clean something like this up, you really appreciate what a good quality item it is. So yeah, very pleased with that. So a bit of a dilemma with the knobs. They're not the original Westone knobs. You can get reproduction ones, which are quite expensive, and of course they are reproduction ones, they're still not the original ones. These ones have clearly been on the guitar for a long time, plenty of signs of wear on it, so to my mind I think they're authentic enough. They've got that patina of age simply because they are old, so my inclination at the moment is to just take them off, give them a quick clean up, and keep with those. So the pots work absolutely fine, although I will squirt a bit of lubricant in them just to clean them up, etc. internally. And do that now. Just free them up a little bit. And I was absolutely delighted, if that's the right word, to see that the whole of the control cavity has been coated in shielded paint, and the backplate's shielded. There's not many instruments that you actually see are fully shielded like that. Certainly not ones I've come across. So no, very pleased to see that. And you can see how the paint's come up onto this surface, so it makes contact with the foil there. So that's really shows a bit of quality. Yeah. So I'm just going to give that a hoover out in a moment. But no, the controls are absolutely fine. So I'm just in the middle of taking apart the tuners and giving them a good clean up. They're clearly Goto tuners, and I've always liked and had a great deal of respect for the brand, and of course still use them to this day. So keep all those little washers, don't lose those. That one doesn't want to come off. Let's give it a bit of clearly. Ah, that's better. Magic, eh? Yeah, so that can all have a good old clean up. What I've got to be careful with, of course, is I don't damage that Westone decal on the back there, because it's that really which gives the tuners their value. I mean, if it wasn't for that decal, well then you might think, oh well, I just will replace them, but that adds to the authenticity and the originality, doesn't it? Bit of lubricant down there. And also I'm going to see if I can work in a little bit of copper based grease around there. Yeah, that feels nice. And then I'm going to put a piece of put some copper based grease on there. Because clearly these two surfaces rub. So that will help that. So the nylon one goes on first. What you can do is tighten that screw up, and you've got the spring washer in the middle there, and that kind of gives you the tension that you want. And that really feels remarkably smooth for a 40-odd-year-old tuner. And when I reassemble it, I'll also put some of that copper grease inside the bush there. So the strap buttons are interesting. That's clearly not an original one. That one I think is an original one. And there's a third hole had been drilled here, so maybe this was played by used by a left-handed player at some point. Yeah, so I'm going to take those off now, and I'm going to replace them with matching buttons. So I'm just cleaning up the body. Some places I really need to go over it with a bit of wire wool to try to get rid of whatever the sticky substance is on there. If it doesn't come off with just the wire wool, sometimes the wax as well helps because it's got a kind of a solvent in it. Let's try that. Yeah, that's coming off much better with a little bit of wax. As I say, I think the solvent in the wax helps get rid of the sticky. And then once I've gotten rid of any marks like that, I'll be going over the whole thing with one of these fine abrasive pads, 4000 grade pad, and again the microcrystalline wax, and then it can all have a good old buff. So I mentioned the strap pins before. That I believe is one of the original ones. I saw them on eBay, £30 a pair, absolutely ludicrous. So I've only got one of those. I do want to have a matching pair, so I've bought these oversized Goto ones. And of course the original equipment on here was probably Goto anyway, so I'm quite happy to put those on. Nickel plated, so not quite as shiny as chrome. So as I've been working on this bass, I must admit I've become a great fan of these Westone guitars. I mean, the build quality is really quite phenomenal. I mean, when you look at the body here, solid quality hardwood, ash, maple, laminates of rosewood. The machining is absolutely impeccable. You can't fault it. There's not a mark there from a router or anything. Really high quality work. And the same with the neck. I mean, when you look at the end here of the neck, I mean, that is really spot on, isn't it? You can't pick out any flaws in that. And then of course you've got a nice slab fretboard on there. I mean, again, looking at the neck itself, this is pretty much how I would make a neck. Laminated, 3 pieces of maple, the head raked back so that as the strings come across the nut, they're all at a consistent angle. The only thing I would do differently would be to do a spliced head joint, but hey, you know, can't have it all, can you? They've taken the time to put an ash head overlay on there. Could have left it raw maple, but they put this ash head overlay on there, obviously to match the body. Good quality Goto tuners, can't really fault those. Look at this plate. This I think this is brilliant. This is the neck plate. It's all sort of die cast and then painted. I mean, that is really, really good, isn't it? And I think I'm right in saying that the screws which are holding the neck down are in fact stainless steel. So obviously that's why they came out easily. Talking of screws, I said that these screws holding the bridge down were brass. Actually, they are steel, but they're brass plated. So how cool is that? Steel, because it's obviously strong, and brass plated to match this really lovely brass bridge. And also, as I said to you earlier, the whole of the electronics section has been shielded. So I find it difficult to imagine a factory built bass guitar, any guitar actually, bolt on neck, of a better quality. I just don't think you'd find it. I mean, it really is very, very good. And I know people who know about Westone basses love them, but I think they're remarkably undervalued. Maybe it's the era they came from, the 80s. People who really seem to be really keen on 60s and 70s guitars. Maybe in a few years' time, these will start to come into their own. But yeah, I'm very, very impressed, and yeah, would thoroughly recommend you get your hands on one. But you've got to find the right one, of course. One of the other things I like is the design of the head shape. The fact that you've got the two sides converging allows the strings to have a straight run from the nut. And it kind of amused me that I got out the template that I used for my short scale bass, you may remember, a while back, and and the shape of it, position of the tuners, etc., is virtually identical, apart from the fact that there's a bit more meat down that end there. Yes, and no wonder I like it, eh? Right, so that is the neck screwed on, and I think pretty much everything else in place. So the Westone bass now is back together and looking rather lovely, I must say. I'm really pleased with the way that it's turned out. There are a couple of holes here which are obviously from a thumb rest. It didn't have a thumb rest originally, as far as I could tell, so someone's clearly put one on, taken one off. So I'm either going to leave those screw holes as is, or I may put a thumb rest on there. And I'm not really decided on that. I might see how I feel when I'm actually trying to play it, whether or not I feel that I need one there. Now, talking of trying to play it, we need some strings on it, don't we? We need some strings on it, and I need to set the action up. And that's something that I'll be doing in the next video. Yeah, so until then, thanks for all your interest, taking the time to watch this. And yeah, we'll see you again soon. So until then, you keep safe. Okay, cheers then.